Hi everyone. So this week's one is going to be quite short, but it is very important, this one, because this is the first formula that we are learning in physics, and there are a lot of formulas that are going to be being looked at this year, and obviously if you decide to continue with physics, even though it's very, very early days, but I do need you to be aware that there is a lot of formula work in physics. So the first one we are going to be looking at is about frequency. So the frequency of a wave, okay, the frequency of a wave is how many waves pass a point in 1 second. Okay, remember that is your definition of frequency, so it's really, really, really important that you memorize that. It's how many waves pass a point in a second, and it can be calculated if you know how many waves are produced in a set amount of time. And how you can calculate it is using this formula here. F is equal to n over t, okay? Where F, okay, is the frequency. And as I've said in previous videos, in physics and in science in general, when you're calculating things, these things need units. Okay, like distance needs to be measured in meters, time needs to be measured in seconds. Frequency has a unit too, okay? It's a new one that you've probably never heard of, but it's called hertz, okay? And the shorthand for hertz is a capital H and a small z, okay? So frequency is the F, and frequency is equal to capital N, which is just the number of waves. It doesn't have a unit because it's just like 5 waves are produced or whatever. And small t is equal to time, and it is measured in seconds. Please be aware that I'm being very, well, I'm saying that this is capital N. I'm saying this is small t, small f, okay? Just be aware that I'm not just being pernickety when I am saying that this is capital N or this is small t or whatever, okay? Because capital T means something else. Okay, and I'm not just being pernickety saying that this is capital H, small z. Okay, you do need to remember how your units are laid out. Okay, so this is your formula. Now, you will have come across a formula before in maths and in first year science, actually, in physics. But we can sometimes use a triangle to help us when we're rearranging our formula. And this is the triangle associated with this formula. So you have the n on top, okay, because the n's on top of the fraction. And then we have our f and our t. Okay, so if you just need a little reminder on how your triangle works, is how a question will be laid out is you will be told two of these things and you will need to work out the third. So for example, if you are trying to work out the frequency, okay, put your finger or whatever over the F, and then what's left over in your triangle will tell you what you need to do. So put your finger over F and you're left with N divided by T, okay? If you're trying to work out N, okay, the number of waves, put your finger over N and what is left is what you need to do. Frequency multiplied by time. Okay, and if you're trying to work out time, put your finger over the t, and what is left is what you need to do, which will be n divided by f, so number of waves divided by frequency. Okay, so that's your triangle. Usually what I get you to do is I give you a piece of paper in class and we write all of our formulas that we learn on a piece of paper so that you have all of your formulas in one place, and we call it our formula sheet. And I do this because in nationals you get a formula sheet with all your formulas on it. Okay, so if you do have a wee spare piece of paper, or just make a Google Doc, I guess, and you can put this information, including the triangle if you want, onto that piece of paper or doc. That would be great. Okay, so let's just see this formula in action. So imagine we have a wave machine at a water park and it produces 10 waves per minute. What is the frequency of the wave? Okay, so it's important to know that this can be physical water waves that we're talking about. This can be light waves, this can be sound waves, etc. Okay, so I'm really specific in how I like you to lay your working out. Okay, what I want you to do is when you read a question, I want you to write down a little list of the things that the question tells you and what you're trying to work out, okay, on the left hand side of your jotter or whatever. Okay, so F is what we're trying to work out. What is the frequency of the waves? So we put F is equal to question mark. Then we put N is equal to 10 because the question says that there are 10 waves being produced. And then we put T is equal to 60 seconds because it says every minute. Okay, and remember, we always measure our time in seconds. Okay, so 1 minute we have to change into 60 seconds. Okay, I expect to see this little list down in every calculation you do. Okay, because it makes your life so much easier when your questions get a little bit harder. Okay. Then these questions are worth 3 marks. Okay, so the next 3 rows of working are going to get you your 3 marks. So it's really important you include all 3 stages. You write your formula down that you are using. Okay, so in this one we are trying to work out F. So you can use your triangle or whatever, and this will be F is equal to N over T. If you were trying to work out N in this question, then your formula would be N is equal to F times T. You would write that down. You get 1 mark for just writing your formula. Then you get 1 mark for subbing in your values, okay, putting these values actually into your formula. So F is equal to N over T, so F is equal to 10 over 60. Then you get a mark for writing your answer and your units, okay? If you forget your units, you don't get the final mark, okay? So if you do forget what units frequency is in, then go back to your notes, okay? And see it's in hertz, okay? So you get your final mark for this. And that would be how you would go about that question. Now, just a couple of things before I finish this video. Please remember what work we did a couple of weeks ago on unit prefixes and significant figures. So a question might include a unit prefix. Okay, so a question might say the frequency of a wave is 10 kilohertz. Okay, and it takes, I don't know, 5 seconds to produce these, how many waves are being produced, for example. You need to be able to say, okay, well, if it's, I can't actually remember what I said, 10 kilohertz. If it was 10 kilohertz, you need to say, well, that K, okay, the kilo, stands for times 10 to the 3. So it'd be 10 times 10 to the 3 hertz. Okay, so you have to work that out. Okay, we will do more work on that later, but I might put in a couple of questions where you do need to take into account unit prefixes. Also, all of your questions should be rounded to 3 significant figures. Okay, this here is rounded to 3 significant figures. Okay, so all of your answers should be to 3 significant figures. Obviously, I'm expecting that we'll be making mistakes at the start, okay, but if you're trying to round to 3 significant figures from now on, then you'll be an absolute pro by the time it comes around that it actually matters and you're like sitting exams and stuff, okay? So, yeah, 3 significant figures. Okay, so that is us for today. As always, if you have any issues or anything, just let us know. Okay, hi, it's me again. I know I already stopped this video, but I decided to actually include another worked example, which included a unit prefix. So I'm just going to go through this quickly as well. Okay, so a wave has a frequency of 5 kilohertz. How many waves will be produced in 7 seconds? So the same process, we're going to read what the question says and we're going to write down what we're looking for and what we already know. Okay, so we know that the frequency is 5 kilohertz. Now, you need to recognize that this K stands for times 10 to the 3. Okay, so you need to get rid of this K and put it into scientific notation instead. Okay, so 5 times 10 to the 3. You do not need to change this into like normal number form. You can just keep it like this because you can put it into your calculator this way. Okay, then obviously we know that the time is 7 seconds and we are trying to find out how many waves because it's how many waves will be produced. So number of waves is what we're looking for. Then we write down our formula. Very important you get a mark for this. So n is equal to f times t. Then we sub in our numbers. Again, you do not need to change this into normal form. You can just sub in 5 times 10 to the 3 straight off. So 5 times 10 to the 3 times 7. And then your answer will be 35,000 waves. Now, as I said, a number of waves doesn't actually have a unit. I mean, you can write waves here if you want, 35,000 waves, but in this case, it's a very rare case, but in this case, it doesn't actually have units, so that would be it. Okay, now is the end of the video. I just wanted to go through that as well.